was a time of innocence, and what a time that was. Thousands of green recruits meeting at a place called Manassas. They're here to uphold the honor of the Confederacy. And they are here to save the Union, land of their father's pride.
You will hear the bugle on the other end, and we will start commencing fire. With pleasure, sir. Gentlemen, good luck.
It is July 19th, 1861, 2 days before the first battle of Bull Run. The blue and the gray both believe that this will be the last battle of a short war. They have no idea of what lies ahead. So many boots and rifles bound for oblivion. In the end, more American lives will be lost than in the First and Second World Wars combined. But they don't know that now. This is a time of innocence. They cheer as if there is no tomorrow, no big battle ahead, which in a way is true because this is not really 1861, as if you hadn't guessed. It is 1986.
Christopher, are you a Yankee or are you a rebel? Rebel.
The likes of this have never been seen. From all across the country and from Europe, 6,500 actors are remaking history.
This is the largest authentic Civil War reenactment that anybody's ever had.
Ed Gentry is in charge. He is chairman of the American Civil War Commemorative Committee.
Probably 98% of the guys here do this kind of thing because they want to understand what our ancestors went through, and by participating, by wearing an authentic uniform, and by marching and drilling and camping and reenacting the battle, sometimes on the original battlefield, you get as close as you can to those men, and you come as close as you ever will come to understanding what they went through.
They went through the first battle of Bull Run, or the Battle of First Manassas, as the South calls it, because the town Manassas was a crucial railroad junction, located just 26 miles from Washington, and whoever held this junction would be in control of transportation in northern Virginia. The battle for control took place here, near a stream called Bull Run. The reenactment of that battle is taking place 5 miles away on a corporate development site where 100-degree heat is taking its toll.
Take his gear off, take his tunic off, give him some water.
I walked over there to see him fighting and blowing the cannons up. I wish it was a lot better weather.
Shoo, the weather's perfect because it's authentic. This is the way it was 125 years ago. So that's the way it ought to be right now. According to Ed Walsh from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, who when he's not soldiering works at a grocery store in Flemington, New Jersey.
From what I understand, the weather's been pretty close to how it was back then. You're talking about 100-degree temperatures every day. The rain was fabulous today. It was a relief for everybody. I'm soaked right now. It's nice and cool.
Over in the command tent, Dale Fetzer, who earlier helped rescue the train in Delaware, is now hoping his wife Linda dries off for tonight's festivities.
And then there's a dress ball, where my wife gets to show off her pretty clothes when they're dry.
You have different groups. You have your groups that are real serious, like Dale and the guys that are camped out here. They're serious. You have your medium people who are serious in the daytime and go to the hotel pool at night and stay in the hotel. That's me.
But for many women, that is not how it was back in the Civil War. According to Cindy Walsh, who was here with her husband Ed, women would become part of camp life because
they were looking for their brothers or their husbands or whatever. They did laundry. They would also go out into the field and tend to the wounded and help them be evacuated to the field hospitals.
Thoughts of wounds and hospitals will have to wait till tomorrow as the soldiers relax on the eve of battle. A friendly duel. From swords to a dueling banjo. The sun is setting low over Christian soldiers marching as to war. For the less pious, it's a game of cards or a fancy dress ball. Here, there's escape from the cares of battle. And if you're a reenactor, you can also escape the 20th century.
It's really a super way of leaving your stress and leaving the 20th century and going into another time period.
Another time period. We'll be going into it with cannons roaring next on Primetime. Dawn. You look and see nothing of the 20th century. You feel you really have crossed back to 1861. You want to warn these amateur soldiers asleep in their tents that for them and for our nation, this is the last morning of innocence. The experience of a terrible war is drawing near. The drummer beats to wake the bugler. Reveille and a morning serenade. Farmers turn soldiers. They're better at chopping wood than fighting, but that's about to change. Over 100 campfires, kettles boil. And after breakfast, the rifles are cleaned. The lines of blue. The lines of gray. They first meet here at Manassas. In the beginning, it proceeds like a picnic for the Union as they drive the Confederates from right to left. Hot work in their heavy wool and flannel uniforms. It all goes according to the Yankee script. Then, a certain brigade of Virginians begins a ferocious counterattack against seemingly hopeless odds. An unknown college professor is their leader, a fellow by the name of Thomas J. Jackson. Another Confederate cries, "There stands Jackson, like a stone wall. Rally behind the Virginians." And they do. And the course of battle and the war and our nation changes. The gray line advances behind the newly christened Stonewall Jackson, and Union soldiers start to fall. War correspondents who have come to record the fall of the Confederacy are now documenting the humiliation of the North and the high number of casualties and the suffering.
Hollywood doesn't really depict accurately, in my estimation, what these large lead slugs do to the human body. They cause horrendous traumatic damage. People just really don't have an idea of what this was all about.
Dave Morris from Brookhaven, Pennsylvania, outside of Chester, does know what it's all about. He is an airlines ticket agent who's been reenacting a Civil War field surgeon for more than 20 years.
We don't try to gross people out, but we want them to understand there's another side to these battles besides the bugles and the drums and the marching and so forth, that afterwards the carnage that was left of the human debris that was left over that had to be taken care of. We want them to see the whole specter of what the Civil War was about.
Among other things, it was about drug addiction.
Many of these people were hopelessly maimed for life, and these men, although they may have been wounded, not lost a limb necessarily, lived in pain all their lives, and the only way they could get through day to day was to take hard narcotics. And you had incredible numbers of morphine addicts that were in this country. Probably a bigger drug problem then in the latter part of the 19th century than anything we have today, because you could buy this stuff right over the counter in any general store as a painkiller.
unexpected that again and again, as you talk to these reenactors of war, you find in them a hatred of war. For example, Howard Warren, a steelworker from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, has a glowing vision of the ultimate reenactment.
If there's ever another war, there'll be nobody left to reenact it. If they do, they'll be glowing. We lost more people in the Civil War than all the wars combined. That's okay to live with, but not really great. First War, Second War, Korea, and Vietnam. The next one, there'll be no reenactors reenact anything.
So if you think these reenactors are celebrating war, think again. What they are doing is paying their respects to men and women who are caught in a conflict beyond their control.
If people don't remember our history and they don't remember what people did to make this country what it is today, then we've lost a lot. We've lost more than we can afford to lose, and this is our way of making sure that it's always remembered. It was a terrible time. It was the bloodiest war that this country ever fought. And we're not here celebrating that. We're here to commemorate what they did and how they did it. Not the fact that one side ultimately won and one side ultimately lost, but how they performed their duty as they saw it. And that's what deserves to be remembered.
An old Indian expression says it best. You are never dead as long as someone remembers who you were. Today, they remembered.